Did you know you were a style meme? No, but that's hilarious. That's the style that people like? Is that a lot? Do they like it? Or is it just a meme because it's bizarre? I'm going to say that I look like I weigh about 12 pounds. And I'm wearing my dad's shirt over my dad's shirt. Hi, I'm Josh Hartnett, and Esquire wanted to ask me some things. How did the bear cameo come to be? I've known Chris Storer for a long time. He and I were talking about doing his first film together years ago, and he was, giving me the background of the story that he wanted to tell, which is in Chicago as well. And then he also just told me about this other script that he had on the side because his sister's a chef and he wanted to do a film about a family in this small restaurant in Chicago. I don't think it was called The Bear yet, but it was another film script. And then we never ended up making our film. We lost touch. And like 2 years ago, The Bear came out. I watched it and was like, holy shit, that's Chris. Gave him a call, was like, congratulations, you've got the biggest show in the world right now. And it's the thing we talked about. And he was like, yeah, you should come be in it. And so I did. And everybody just has a good time. It's like a 5-hour workday. They shouldn't get away with that. Like somebody should go and the fun police should go and like stop them because they're just like, they go to set and they like play for a few hours and by lunch they're all done. And then the show gets like Emmys and SAGs and, everybody watches it. It's just not fair. It's not, I'm in it. It's totally fair. Have you ever been tempted to play a superhero? Yeah, I've been tempted, of course. There isn't a genre that I wouldn't be tempted to explore. It's not about the genre. It's about what you think you can bring to the character. And I think what's clear about the films that I've done in my career is that I'm always looking for something that's a little bit challenging, a little bit new. So I'll continue to do that. And if at some point that happens to be a superhero role, it will be. I don't know. So how did I prepare to play a tough role like a serial killer? Read a lot of books about sociopathy. Try to understand what this type of person would find alarming and what they wouldn't. And maybe throw in a bit of mania. All of us have light in our, personalities, but Cooper's lights are maybe a little brighter and his darks are definitely darker. And that's fun to take on. Knight said to me that he thought that this character should be in Technicolor, meaning just sort of like very vibrant. And for me as an actor, that was a challenge to pull off. And then also a lot of fun because challenges are the most fun. If you were offered a journey to space, would you take it? I love this question. So I've heard two theories on this. One, it's unlike anything that you've ever experienced or would ever experience, so you should, because it's phenomenal to go out into the great unknown, look back at where we are, and recontextualize your experience of your life. But then I heard David Attenborough, who I love, say recently, why would you go out to space? There's nothing there. All the good stuff's down here. I think I've always had a fascination with space because I'm part of that, a few generations of people, post-moon landing who are like obsessed with it. I don't know. I saw Star Wars too many times. Of course, I want a lightsaber. First off, I've been a huge fan of Black Mirror since the beginning. I think, Charlie Brooker's a genius. He's from satire. Like, that's what I think levels up that show so much because there's over the years, there have been lots of attempts at making something that's similar to that, and people can't pull it off because they're too self-serious. They're trying to find a way to kind of predict the future and just leave it at that. Charlie's not necessarily trying to predict the future. He's thinking of like kind of the most absurd outcome, and it just happens to come true a lot. What do you remember from this moment in your career? If I remember correctly, I wasn't supposed to be on the cover of this, and they put me on the cover after the fact, and I look like I'm like 11 years old. Whoever the giant person with sparkly red lips that kissed me was very sweet. All I remember is that it was all sort of brand new to me. And then when they party for this at Sundance, when it was coming out, Johnny Rotten was there. Which is very cool. Of all the characters you've created, which of your characters would you most want to have a dinner with and why? Well, there's a lot I could just cross off the list right away. It'd be nice to go out to dinner with Zeke. What is Zeke up to these days? But then again, Ethan Chandler's not too bad. not many chances to meet a werewolf. I've met Matt Eversman, who is a real guy. I have had a meal with him. I think I'm going to go with my initial instinct and say Zeke. I want to know if he's still selling scat and who's buying it. So what comes to mind when you recall working with Michael Bay on Pearl Harbor? There was massive explosions on set every day. We were running around in the actual place. I'm surprised no one got hurt, but it was a wonderful experience. We were in Hawaii, and we were making something that was a beautiful romantic film that had the backdrop of World War II. I don't know. I just had a really nice time. It was also at a very interesting moment in my career because I had done like Virgin Suicides at the Faculty and Halloween H2O, but I hadn't done something really big like this. You know, Ben and I got along really well. Everybody on set was very kind, and it was my first experience of a giant film. So what was the audition process like for Oppenheimer? It wasn't really an audition process. I've known Chris for a long time. They called me and said that they wanted me to look at the script. They asked me if I would make a tape. I did, but apparently Chris didn't watch it, and he just hired me. How did you come to direct Kid Cudi's Pursuit of Happiness music video? I met Scott, Kid Cudi, in New York when he was having his first gig just after Day and Night came out, and he came out and he was awesome. His performance was amazing, and I was like, this kid is going to be huge. He came off stage and he was like, hey man, I know you. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm Josh, how are you? And he's like, I'm Scott. He's like, do you want to be friends? Like that, I swear to God, that guileless. And over the course of the first year of hanging out, he was like, I want to do a new video for this new thing that I've got. I wrote the concept for it, and then he loved it, and we went and shot it in one night. Thank you for joining me and asking me questions, and I hope I gave you guys really insightful answers, which I don't usually do. Please go watch me in Trap.